Zander.
The new leadership we're talking about is about what we would like to see, where we would like to go, what would work for all of us.
People are hungry for a new metaphor. They're tired of the old imagery of sports and war and beating up the enemy and smashing their face and knocking them to the ground and how we can win and rah, 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 and so, you know. Finally, everybody says, oh, give me a break, you know. Maybe the way to think is that we're all in a symphony, and that it's a symphony, sounding together, sounding together. That means all the voices of the symphony are sounding together. It's not about winning, it's about sounding together. Now suddenly leadership becomes a completely different thing.
Now here it comes, ding, 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 ding.
The new era of leadership has to do with enrolling people in a vision or an idea, because you're not going to be able to command them to do that. And also, you need all the resources of everybody involved in an organization. So to be able to spark possibility in each of the people who work with you gives you all of them, gives you all the resources of every person.
I could galvanize an orchestra, but could I enhance, enliven, and awaken an orchestra to be the most that they could be? So the notion arose of the conductor as not the dominator, but the conductor as conduit for the possibility that people can be, as Ross says, the relentless architect of the possibility that others can be.
This new leadership is about relationship, and it's on conversations. That is, what is the conversation I'm having? How is that affecting the person I'm having it with?
Why do you repeat it? Why do you say Das Wandern ist des Müllers Lust, das Wandern? Why repeat it?
Because it's not just his joy, it's his joy.
All right, exactly, now do it. Wandern, wow, we're going here.
That's the focus. How alive is the person I'm leading to the possibility, to the vision? How much creative action can that person take from his own inspiration?
I mean, you cannot leave without feeling a renewed sense of your own capacity, a renewed sense of your own possibility.
I teach students. I teach a class at the New England Conservatory, young musicians, and they come and they're very excited to be there and they're thrilled to be at the New England Conservatory and all that, but they're not so sure about how they compare to their next door neighbors. And when they come up and play in front of people, it looks as though there's just one person there, but actually there are two people. There's the person who's playing, and then there's a person who's standing beside the person who's playing, whispering in his ear, saying, "You haven't practiced enough." Do you know how many people play this piece better than you do? That difficult passage. You missed it the last time. It's coming right up. You're going to miss it again. It's the voice in the head, right? You all know the voice in the head. And if you're saying to yourself, what does he mean, a voice in the head? I don't understand what he's talking about. That's the voice I mean. So I give everybody an A in the class. Everybody gets an A.
Ben and I have a practice called giving everyone an A. It started because Ben has a graduate class at the New England Conservatory, and he had a lot of very anxious people in his class. And Ben said, I don't know how to get by it. So I said, the only way to do that is to give them all an A from the beginning of the year. So what we developed was that every student got an A and had to write a letter dated the following May saying, "Dear Mr. Zander, I got my A because." So then these beautiful letters emerged, just saying exactly the person who was kind of hidden inside there, the person whom the student would be if there were no barriers, no fears, no kind of voices in the head telling them what they couldn't do. giving the A is a completely different paradigm. It is the paradigm of possibility, and we say the A is a possibility to live into, not a standard to live up to.
Rather like a fish swims in water, the environment of the class is an A. Joy, relief, ease, community, non-competitiveness, encouragement, spontaneity, risk-taking, that is the environment of the A.
Fine, let's stop. Great, wonderful play, wonderful play.
Everybody can make a difference from any place that they're sitting, from any role in an organization. They've been thirsting to feel about themselves that they can make a difference. All of us have encountered being stopped in something when we wanted to contribute in some way and somebody stopped us. And we then were cautious about the next thing we said. And you know, you get a few of those and it's pretty ingrained. So now people look out and say, I have to really, really, really get to know somebody before I'll trust them. Not as soon as you notice that you're talking about what's gone wrong, what isn't right, what needs to be fixed, how they're wrong and you're right, you're in the downward spiral. The passageway out is to think possibility. It's to move forward and say, what do I want to have happen?
Is shine. I had an amazing discovery when I was about 45, a little embarrassed at how old I was, when I made this shattering realization. But I'll tell you what it was. This is what I discovered. The conductor of an orchestra doesn't make a sound. He's the only musician who doesn't make a sound. So he depends for his power, and his power is very great, and his picture appears on the front of the record jacket in various poses. But he depends for his power on his ability to make other people powerful. That was a phenomenal realization for me, because I realized that my job was to enliven possibility, awake possibility in other people. And when I got that, I of course began to be very interested in how effective I was in doing that. And the only way I could think of doing it was to look at the eyes of the people in the orchestra around me. And if they were lit up, I could say, great, we're doing it. And if they weren't, I got to ask myself a question. Who am I being that the eyes of my orchestra players are not lit up? And so I started taking a white sheet of paper, put it on everybody's stand, in every orchestra that I conducted, grown-up orchestra, children's orchestra, and the white sheet of paper had an invitation with it, which is to write anything on that paper. Somebody would say, a young girl wrote in her sheet of paper, she said, you're not making enough crescendo before P. This was in a Bruckner movement, and the music was building up to a great climax, and she said, you're not doing enough there. And so that night at the concert, I did a huge crescendo. And she came up to me afterwards, and she said, you did my crescendo. Well, of course, my dream is that every single member of the orchestra will be feeling, you're doing my crescendo at every moment. I believe that is a possibility, because it is a characteristic of a leader that he never doubt the capacity of the people he's leading to realize whatever he's dreaming. Okay? Imagine if Martin Luther King had said, I have a dream. Of course, I'm not sure they'll be up to it.
I cannot play their instruments. They have to play. They will play very well in a state of domination, but if the focus is on the players and the extent to which they are transformed, the extent to which they are enlivened, the extent to which their eyes are shining, that is infinitely more satisfying and rewarding, and in the end, I believe, effective than the other way of dominating people to follow the will of the leader.
Beautiful, and that was so beautiful we want to hear it again. Finish. Yeah, it's really beautiful. There's one thing I think you've forgotten. Come here a moment. Come here with me. Come here. This is Michael. Michael has had a very, very tough week. Now, along comes Sarah with cello to remind Michael that life is great, okay? So that's your job, all right? Are you ready? So here we go. Yeah, but Michael is over here. He's not here, all right? So you really have to get him now. You have to give him this absolute clear message. Life is great. Here we go.
I think that is what great leaders do. They see new pathways. In fact, they make new pathways.
Emmanuel, he needs you so much.
This is about a very major transformation of our habits, a rethinking of what we do every day.
Please, Anne just lost her love.